Coco Gauff double bagel Sophia Kennan in front of friends and family, but shots fired as former doubles number one doubles great Renee Stubbs take shots at Coco. As always, this video is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use, the Fair Dealing, and the Digital Millennium Act. We're going to get into it, guys. Buckle your seatbelts. Grab some popcorn because we are in for a ride. We're going to take a look at Coco Gauff's draw, but first we're going to talk about Renee Stubbs, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, former doubles great, former number one, four-time double slam champion, mixed doubles champion on a couple occasions, former coach of the great Serena Williams. She's been vocal about Coco. And if you follow the channel, for the most part, she has beautiful words to say about Coco. But this is how you know good energy is an expert. This is how you know I know what I'm talking about. Because Renee, she pointed out some of the things that I pointed out. Now, it's fair criticism. And Renee's just being honest. She said, look, you can tell when Coco's game is struggling. When she plays outdoors, in particular, if the elements are just out of control, like the Indian Wells, the wind, right? The extreme humidity, and just the way the ball carries in the desert. It's not good for most players. Most players don't like those playing conditions. But Renee Stubbs said, look, guys, when Coco plays indoor hard, she's clearly better than anyone. And I agree. I've said the same thing. Coco's game indoors, it's just simply better than anyone else on tour. Take a look at that amazing stretch she had in Saudi Arabia. Defeated the world's ranked number 1 and 2, Aryna Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek. She's actually beat Iga Swiatek the last 2 times they've played. And I told you guys, I think that head-to-head, it's going to start changing. It's going to start turning very fast. So she looked amazing today, double bageling Sophia Kennan. Literally, that's the second time that's happened to Sophia Kennan for her entire career. That's extremely difficult to do. Coco won 81% of her first serves. But Renee would say Coco Gauff, when it comes to the elements, right, when she's playing outdoors where Mother Nature can interfere with her game, she tends to struggle, whether that's the serve, whether that's the forehand. Renee says she notices Coco's game struggles because of the elements. However, when it comes to indoor hard, she's clearly the best player. I agree. I've said the same thing. Now, when you're playing outdoors, it doesn't really give you a true reflection. It doesn't give you an accurate reflection of who the overall better tennis player is, but merely gives you a result of who was the better tennis player for that day. And of course, you can argue that's the case with most tennis matches, most professional sports. However, when we're talking about indoor hard, elements aside, all things constant, the better player is normally going to win. Now, look, I've played outdoor, I've played indoor, and I'm going to just keep it completely transparent with you. Indoor hard, when you're an extreme athlete, a naturally gifted athlete like Coco Gauff, your game is going to shine better, right? Now, take a look at someone that's super duper fast like Coco Gauff, playing outdoor versus indoor. Outdoor versus indoor. You're fast on both surfaces. Your speed's not going to just disappear because you're playing outdoors versus indoors. However, there's no elements, and for the most part, indoor courts play faster than outdoor courts. So that natural speed that you have, that natural athletic ability, it's going to shine more when you're playing indoors, right? You're going to be more mentally confident when you're playing indoors. You know you don't have to worry about the sun shining in your face. You don't have to worry about the wind blowing east, west, north, or south. You don't have to focus on the elements. You can just focus on your natural abilities, your attributes, your God given talents, your game, your raw talent. And this is why I'm telling you, I think they need to make a fifth Grand Slam. I don't care if it's in China, they have the infrastructure to do it. Russia did, but I mean, there's just too much going on there. That is not even in the question of having a fifth slam in Russia. But that would have, we go back 7 years ago, 5 years ago, Russia or China without a doubt. But I think China has the infrastructure to do it today, this year. There needs to be a fifth slam indoor hard, or at least continue as they are to have the WTA finals in Saudi Arabia where they can play indoors where there's no elements. I think the important tournaments that matter, like the WTA finals, have to be held indoors. We can't have rain delays like Cancun and all of this just nonsense like that we had Cancun a couple of years ago. You have to be able to play these matches as scheduled. There's big sponsors, there's big endorsements without issues. We need a fifth slam indoor hard to see who is really the best tennis player. I think that could shuffle up the rankings. It could, players like Alicia Parks could be a top 10 player. You have an indoor hard slam, possibly number one in the world, because her game now, she lost earlier to Leylah Fernandez, but the serve is amazing. The plus one's amazing. She's so strong and powerful. And again, when you take out the elements, the wind, it's very windy in Miami. It's literally raining on and off all the time. You can focus better, right? It's just one less thing to worry about. Now it's your game plan, not necessarily even focusing on your opponent, but focusing on, like Mira said, the things you need to do. But I agree with Renee to some extent. The weather, the elements do affect Coco. And she's still pretty young. She's 21 now, right? Thank you guys for wishing Coco all that love and support in the comments. But she still is young. She still is growing. She still is maturing. But she looked amazing today, guys. What do you think? Can Coco win Miami? She's confident. She looks relaxed. I think she can. Now, in her draw, the next match is going to be against Sakari. Now, Sakari, the Greek goddess. Now, listen, guys. I think Coco's going to win this match against Maria, tie the head-to-head up 5-5, right? I talked about at DC just how I thought that head-to-head was finally going to turn around. We all know Maria. She's a bit older than Coco. She started off just winning the first couple matches against Coco. Coco won one. Maria won the next two. But listen, I think Coco's going to tie this head-to-head up at 5. And if we take a look overall in the top 10, I mean, Coco owns the head-to-head against some of these amazing players inside the top 10, right? Sabalenka, she now owns that head-to-head again, 5-4. Lena Rybakina, 1-love, right? They only played once. We need to see that matchup again, please, matchmakers. Polini, she's beat twice, right? Mira Andreeva, she's beat twice, right? So Kinwin, she's beat at least once or twice. So Coco owns the head-to-head against some of these amazing players inside the top 10. And I just feel that being at home, she's comfortable. She doesn't have to travel. Friends and family there, showing her lots of love and support. This could be the one here. This could really be the one. Of course, our last Master 1000 was in Beijing, right? Amazing tournament to win. So I think she's possibly going to take on, I would probably say now, Magdalene, she's playing, she's going to play, I think, Linda Favertova, who defeated, who did Linda beat? I think she had that huge upset over, she beat Claire Liu, and then she beat Beatrice Haddad. So Beatrice is out. So Lynette took out Ekaterina, and she also took out Pavlyuchenkova. I do think Lynette's going to beat Favirtova, which sets up a showdown with Coco. I think Coco gets past Lynette. And then in the next round, she'll have the opportunity to play. I think, and again, I get tired of some of these matches. Osaka and Haley Baptiste. Come on, guys. Like, yeah, I want to see it. Dasha put up a fight, 3-set, but Haley's just too versatile. She's too skilled. I call her a younger version of Ons. I think Osaka gets past Haley. She's just going to have too much power. And then I could see Ons. I could see Ons beating Jasmine Paolini, but if Jasmine pushes the pace, she could beat Ons too as well. I think Osaka, if she faces Ons, might be in trouble because Ons, I think, can stretch the court. She can get balls back. Kind of frustrate her with short balls like we saw Camilo Osorio do. But again, as long as Osaka's shoulder holds up, because that's really the issue, right? She couldn't serve, right? Or was it the rib? I forget. Osaka's been banged up lately. We could possibly see a Coco Osaka matchup, right? As we get down to the quarterfinal, it's possible. We know Osaka, as the tour gets ready for clay, she's never been a huge clay player. She's never been a huge grass player. She just hasn't put the focus in it. And this is where a lot of people get so critical of Osaka because she has all this talent. Has she really applied it? No. She still got 4 slams, and she hasn't really played a long, grueling schedule on tour. Now that she's a mother, probably not going to happen anyway. Listen, guys, that would be amazing to see a Coco Osaka quarterfinal. I think it would be pretty good. But nonetheless, Coco looks good, guys, and these matchmakers now reconsidering whether or not Coco can win this whole thing, right? She looked really, really good. She looked freaking darn amazing against big game Sofia Kenin. A double bagel, 84% of her first serves, only 2 double faults. And that's the other thing Renee talked about is the double faults. Guys, listen, I'm going to do comeback of the year, and I have Yulia Putintseva in that award for the 24 season. That comeback against Coco in Canada, where she won like 18 out of 20 points to come back and win that match. It's one of the amazing comebacks of the year. Right? You're going to have the opportunity to vote. But Yulia didn't do anything. Coco did it with the double faults. And that's what Renee's talking about. Coco beating herself, but the elements is what's doing it. No one last year just dominated Coco. They won those matches because Coco was struggling herself. Now, in terms of the experts, they are now being possibly a little bit more respectful about Coco here in Miami. That's right, guys. So Coco Gauff now one of the favorites, of course, to win her quarter as always, but possibly setting up that showdown with the one and only Naomi Osaka, who I just feel hasn't been healthy. You saw against Camilo Osorio, she struggled to get her ball toss up. Her serve was readable, and Osorio was just jumping on it. Coco today, serve was unreadable. An expert like Sofia Kenin, who's not the fastest, she's not the strongest. She uses a lot of her mental abilities. She's very tough, but she reads her serve, right? That's how she's able to jump and get out ahead in these rallies, because Sofia Kenin she's not that fast, right? She's not, her speed is just, her footwork's okay, but it's not top notch. She really reads her opponent's serve really well. That's how she's able to jump on them in these rallies and keep in these rallies, because she starts a lot of these rallies with the upper hand. Couldn't read anything from Coco, right? Only had one opportunity to break, and that lets you know. And Coco saved it. I think Coco beats the Greek goddess. That's the next matchup. Let's not jump ahead of that, because Maria is still a solid player, even though I think she's struggling very, very big mentally. I haven't seen Maria struggle this bad. And she's talked about getting older. I mean, I think, look, and I say this time to time again, these ladies, once they get in their upper 20s, they're thinking about having families. They have significant others. And sometimes the training, the focus isn't there as it should be. But Maria, let's just take a look at her really quick, guys, because she's 6-10 on the year. You're telling me you're not concerned about the Greek goddess? She's only 25-16 last year. She is 6-10 on the year. Okay, aside from the loss to Coco at the Indian Wells, she lost to Samnez in Mexico. I mean, Camila Osorio, the first round of the Australian Open. Yeah, Camila, good defensive player. She just beat an injured Osaka. But Maria probably should have won that match, right? She's a lot stronger than Osorio. She can overpower her. But is her stamina wearing down? Tennis is a young lady sport. And I think she's going to be in trouble against Coco. Let me know, guys. What do you think about Renee? Is she right? Is she correct? Do the elements really affect Coco's game? Is Coco a better indoor hard player? Let me know. Comment below. Coco Gauff, double bagel against Kenin. Watch out, guys. I think she's going to win the Miami Open. My opinion.